Hey YouTube, just wanted to put a video together. This will probably be a long one. I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I'd like to first start though by pointing out that the premiums on silver, Eagles in particular, have really come down. Okay, and you kind of have to ask the question, what have we learned here? Remember in January when there was a so-called shortage of American Eagles. I mean, there was a shortage of American Eagles. People were equating it with a shortage of silver. And really, it turned out that it was just a shortage of silver blanks. And that prompted the mint to charge a premium. Well, we know that the premium quickly went away and prices normalized. And if you had overpaid for Eagles, you basically threw that money away. Well, it's basically been the same deal ever since silver came down originally in April, right? Premium started out sky high, up to $9 on Eagles, and now we're seeing that premium come down again. So the question is this: did the mines suddenly start cranking out more silver? No. Basically, there was a hole in the line, and it got filled back in, and now the prices are normalized. We basically have an assembly line at work. Not like the Lucy in the Chocolate Factory, assembly line from yesteryear, but it's still, a line in the traditional sense. And as we approach end of quarter, we flush everything that we can get, that we know that we can book for revenue, heading towards the end of the quarter. We flush through the line, we expedite. And every quarter, what that does is that creates a hole in the line. And then if you're at the end of the line, you kind of have to sit there and wait for product to get to you again, to process. Okay? And it's really no different here. All the stuff, the coins, rounds, and bars were flushed from the end of the line. And it took a little bit of a time to catch back up, but now it's catching back up. There's a couple things that I want to show you. I have a silly analogy I want to go over with you guys, but there's some data we need to look at before we do that. But one thing that I'm proud of you is, I haven't seen unboxings of people overpaying for Eagles, people overpaying for silver. You've done a really good job of trying to find value, and it's been tough. A little bit of dodging raindrops here, trying to make sure that we don't fall into the trap of overpaying. And I think you've done an outstanding job of that. Like I said, I've seen a lot of good unboxings where you guys have found value. So really quick, this is the Silver Institute's annual report. We're going to do a little bit of looking in the rearview mirror here. Hopefully we can make some sense of silver's weakness last year into this year. Okay, the number one number that we're going to start out with is mining production. Okay, 2012, it was plus 30 million ounces from the year before. Okay, we do cartwheels over the US Mint selling as many Eagles as they are, but even in this record year, guys, we've only hit 20 million. Now, I say only, but that is a huge number. But look at this in relation to silver production. We haven't even made up the delta between 2011 and 2012, which was 30 million ounces. Okay, so let's just get some perspective here. As investors, we really have a smaller share of this market. Now, if you look at demand, you look at industrial applications. Now, I'm very bullish on this for the future, but you know what? Let's see if you can see that there. It went down 22 million ounces last year, from 487 down to 465. 22 million, does that sound familiar? That's about the American Eagle sales. So right there, if you want to take the 30 million from mine production and also add the extra 25 million, now we're at 55 million ounces. Now we're starting to add up here, okay? Now you throw in photography, down 9 million, that's not a big shock. Okay, you throw in jewelry, that went down 1 million ounces. Now you throw in silverware, another 4 million. It really starts to explain why, even though people are buying more silver products, there's still a long ways to go here. And this is why I think it's absolutely crucial to buy something with a collector's premium. Okay, because right there, that shortfall, that's a lot of generic silver, guys, that needs to be bought up. And all I know is I want to be protected. I keep going back to Guseva 1's Great Australian Silver and Gold Collection. If you ever get a second, please check it out. Because you know what? He is stocked with 2008, 2009, and 2010 Australian Perth Mint silver. And I know he paid a premium for all of it. But you know what? He wasn't I guarantee he's not really sweating this dip a bit, because you know what? 2008 Kooks, 2008 Lunar, 2009 Kooks and Lunar, those haven't budged. In fact, they've done nothing but go up in price. You gotta have some collector premium attached to your silver. If you're all in on Buffaloes or all in on generic bars, then you have taken this entire move down on the chin. You felt every dollar move down. But you know what? If you're sitting on Lunar Series coins, if you're sitting on old Kooks, you're styling. You're still sitting pretty. Okay? Now I want to tell a quick story. This is kind of silly. I just want to have fun with this. And while we do, I'm going to have you guys look at a gold Taku, because I think this thing is absolutely sensational. Don't know how much it costs. All I know is I like it. So Joe has a hot dog stand. Okay? And he's got a pretty good little business for himself. He sells his hot dogs for $3.50. Pretty nice product movement. Sells a lot of hot dogs. And he's got a little hot dog factory right next to his stand. And it starts out literally with this big pile of animal parts, really unsightly, but it's how hot dogs are made. And then you get the whole production line, right from the pink slime to the casings, right down the line until you end up with your hot dog. So one day he says, you know what, I'd like to move more product, even at the expense of margins and everything else. So he lowers his hot dog price down to $2.50. Well, unbeknownst to him, Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi were walking by, and they decided they were going to have a hot dog eating contest right there. And not only were they going to do that, a crowd of people started to gather, and they wanted to get hot dogs too. And Joe was cleaned out quickly. His entire hot dog stand was cleaned out. So the crowd started to murmur, there must be a shortage of animal parts because we can't get our hot dogs. And Joe just shook his head. He goes, no, I'm out of hot dogs. I'm out of the end product. But look at that big pile over there. We still have plenty of animal parts. But his factory wasn't really set up to crank out more hot dogs. He only had a limited amount of capacity. So now he basically told the people that they were going to have to wait. And you know what? You're going to have to wait an hour. And not only that, I'm going to have to charge you more for your hot dogs. Some people were angry, decided not to buy. Other people decided, well, I'm hungry. I'm here. I'm going to have a hot dog. So basically, Joe started catching up. He had Maude at the casing station, worked some overtime. He had Jimmy over at the pink slime station working some extra shifts. But he knows that with this new demand, because people are starting to develop a taste for hot dogs, that he is going to have to start looking at hiring extra people and having more machines to process all those animal parts, because there's a ton of animal parts to work through. And yeah, he comes out with some fancy new products. He comes out with the little cocktail weenies that there's a special dipping sauce, so he's almost able to charge the full price. And the hot dog crowd is angry over this. I can't believe you'd actually buy a cocktail weenie that's dressed up. But sometimes you're just in the mood for those little flavored hot dogs. And they get really irate. The hot dog crowd gets really angry when you buy the special Lunar Kobe beef hot dogs, because they always sell for a big premium. But you know what? If you buy those special Kobe beef Lunar hot dogs in September, the premium isn't as large. But as they start to get close to selling out, the price really spikes up on them. That's just the way I see this whole silver story, guys. Okay, there's not a silver shortage. There's an end product silver shortage. And we get a lot of work to do to make up for these increased mining numbers. Now, honestly, I think when we look at 2013's numbers, especially with the silver price going down the way it is, you're going to see I think you're going to see different numbers here. Those miners aren't going to be hammering this quite as hard. Understand that 2012 is one of the only years in history that silver was above $25 an ounce for the entire year. In fact, 2011 was the only one, and I'm not sure about 1980. I think the spike was too quick. But you know what? They took advantage of it, and they processed all that ore. And you know, what's it going to be like going forward? I don't know, but I do know that buying silver here, obviously, is one heck of a lot better than buying silver at 35. And you can certainly add the ounces, but you know, make sure that you have. Well, look, this is my opinion, okay? But this is why I have a diverse stack, because a good chunk of my stack you cannot replace for $25, $26 an ounce. And if I went straight generic, I would have taken this entire move down on the chin. Okay, that's why I like having my lunar coins, my kookaburras, you know, and all that stuff, because I know that it's held its value. And the best time to buy those lunar coins is right around September when they're first released, because as they get close to selling out, and I'm going to do a full video on this, but as they get close to selling out, the premiums do nothing but go up. Hammer them in September when they first get released. The premium's at its smallest, and they do nothing but go up. All right, guys, you know, just my look at the recent price action in silver, and like I said, the premiums have come down, and you know, I've learned a lot from this. I hope you have too. Whenever somebody says this time it's different, it's usually not.